Yo,
What is going on?
Happy Tuesday. Chilling, man. Happy Tuesday, man. Another comic relief episode number 8 now. Holy crap.
Number 8. Wow, we catching up, man. We're getting there.
Hitting that 2-month mark. I love it, man. This has been it's been a lot of fun. It's cool, we're starting to bring guests on and all these hot topics that we've been talking about. Anybody that's watching right now, appreciate you guys. We'll get to you in a sec in the chat, and anybody who's taking time to watch the replay, of course, we appreciate you taking that time as well. If you're new, if you're not familiar with this show is all about hot topics within the industry. We call it comic relief because it's a relief that we could talk about some of these things that others might not feel as comfortable talking about. So we always like to clarify, we are not experts in any way. We are just sharing our opinions. We're not calling anybody wrong or right. We just share how we collect things. And of course, Morbius here, or on this side. I put your information in the description below. I know you've been building out your channel now. So guys, make sure you're following Morbius on YouTube and Instagram.
Word, definitely, man. And like we said, thank you so much for everyone checking us out. And we definitely are excited today because we have an awesome guest, man. We got Chet in the building. So if you want, we could just bring them in right now and then let's get this started, man. Because I'm excited.
What's going on, Chet?
What's up, gentlemen? Morbius, good to be teaming up with my fellow comic heads. Justin, good to see you.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate you coming back on the channel. I know this is not your first time and you've been here for other reasons, but I figure this would be a good night tonight to have you on for this particular topic that we're talking about, as we are diving into Raws versus Slab books.
This topic made me change my plans today.
You're like, we're talking about what? Oh, I'll be there.
I think do some fine-tuning and adjusting here. And Justin, that's a yes. I'm glad to be here for this one. I like stuff like this.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I put Chet's Instagram account in the description below as well. So if anybody that's here right now or catching the replay, if you guys aren't subbed up to Chet, or if you're not following him over on Instagram, go follow that man, especially if you like X-Men, because my man Chet here has got it all. So let's just say close. You practically have it all. Let's say a quick hello to the chat, and then we'll jump into the fun here. So we had my man Travis right off the bat hanging out with us. Station TM Nerdy.
Travis.
We also got DJ Links in the house as well. He goes, I like raw. There you go.
There you go. ODB style. I like it raw.
Copy
I should have
801.
kept the Wu-Tang shirt on then.
Copy says, "No, this is a discussion I can get behind." There you go. We got Fuchsia only in the house. What's going on, Fuchsia? Hope you're doing well. We also got my man Azor's Tiger from Spine Ticks representing. Great seeing you. We also got Sheena. What's going on, Sheena? Thanks for stopping in. She says she's driving, but she's listening. We appreciate it. We got Something Wong in the chat as well.
Appreciate you.
What's going on? What's going on? My man, Comic Burrito. Hello. Congrats to Comic Burrito. He just won a nice giveaway.
I don't know. Comic Burrito is appropriate for what we're talking about.
That's funny, right? That's funny. And I think we're linking up today. I don't know. We're syncing today.
Brandon is in
we
the
got
house.
Brandon. What's going on, dude?
What's going on, Brandon?
This dude, Peter. What's up, Peter?
Peter,
good drink and ready for a good chat. Nice.
Cape Clown Comics. That would be Peter.
That's Cape Clown. Okay, nice. Nice.
Hey,
I was talking with him. PJ.
My fellow slab cracker.
Yeah, man. We got Thomas Jackman in the house too. What's going on, TJ?
Hey, Thomas, what's going on, man?
My man, Comics and Culture as well, swinging by.
What's up?
What up? What's going on, bud?
Stopping through.
The chat just jumped on me. I saw the TJ Slab Dragon Watson is the title of the show. A real question. Yeah, man. TJ, I'd love to have TJ on for something like this too.
Sure.
We got my man John's Comments with Kids says, look at these handsome fellas. Hope we can keep things friendly with these big personalities. Hell yeah. Always in person. Always, yeah. We got my man Hile Comic Bro in the house as well. What's going on, Ro?
Hile.
And Bobby also here, and Steve is also here representing Team Nerd Herd.
Steve, what's cracking, y'all? Them slabs, you know it.
Entropy in Comics is here. Them slabs. We got Rage Theo in the house too, my man, from over on Instagram. Good to see you. All right, I think we got just about everybody here. Albert, just talking with Albert before too. Albert said he ran into you, Chet.
Yeah, he did. I was in the Bronx, and I took a ride over to the closest store next to where I was, and I was in Yonkers. And we were talking, and before you knew it, he was like, "What's your Instagram?" And he put, "Yeah, oh, I follow you. Oh, you're him. Oh, you're him. Hey, great to meet you." And I was like, "Yo, how small a world it is, bro."
That's the best, man.
Wow, it was like surreal to run into somebody that you follow. And such a I guess not the city and not quite the suburbs, but just in the place, so
random place.
Nice to meet him. Good guy.
Dude, dope. Yeah, Albert's great, man. Glad that you two can meet. We got my man Nigel in the house, Desired Comics.
Big
Nigel.
Was good.
We also got Rogue Trader as well. Been seeing a lot of Rogue Trader recently. Good to see you. All right, I think I got everyone at the moment. You guys keep chiming in the chat. Would love to hear what you all think. I did miss Chris. There's Chris. I got issues. My goal is to buy a slab from Chet and then crack it open live to read it.
Man. Chris,
a stab to the heart. It's a stab to the heart.
I'm looking for a paper bag. Yo, don't do that to me, man.
I wouldn't buy it from Chet though, but Chris is my kind of guy. I wouldn't do that.
That's hilarious. All right, so let's jump into this, and again, chat. Feel free to chime in. We'll highlight your stuff as we go, and just let us know your thoughts. But I want to start with you, Morb. I'm curious. I mean, I kind of know, but sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. But before we get started, of course, we got to do our traditional toast. Unfortunately, today I am sick, so I can't drink, but we are still going to do our toast. Chet actually does not drink alcohol, and Justin is not going to drink by himself, which makes sense. I got some water. So we got some water, guys, so we're just going to toast a little bit. Cheers to you.
Cheers salute.
Salute. So, but yeah, let's just get started, jump into this. Well, you guys already know how I feel. I mean, clearly you can see behind me is nothing but raws, man, and that's I'm always about the raw. I do appreciate slabs, don't get me wrong. I'm not this guy that's like anti-slab and fuck slabs, because I got slabs. You know what I mean? That books that I picked up throughout the years where it was just a better economic opportunity to get the slab over the raw in the condition that it was in. So those slabs I keep, there's slabs that I have like, She-Hulk. I have a raw of She-Hulk, one slab of She-Hulk on my wall, but I also have a 9.0 that I picked up not too long ago because it's just I'm a big fanatic of She-Hulk, and the one that I have is not in best condition. And I figured, you know what? I always wanted to upgrade it, and I got such an awesome deal on that I couldn't pass it up compared to the raw in that condition. So I figured, why not? And that's something that I'm not gonna crack, because it just doesn't make sense to me, being I already have my raw, so it's like it makes sense. But on the long run, to me, it was being that I'm old school. I come from that era where to me collecting is more of a, it's just like it's nostalgic to me. You know what I mean? I pick up books because of the memories that they give me. It really has not much to do with value per se. I mean, some books, yeah, like I said, you want to hold on to because you appreciate the fact that they do hold some value. You know what I mean? Because there's something for me I want to pass to my children and have them benefit from it. If they ever fall in a rut, they need to make some money, whatever. They could go to town with them books, I don't care. But me personally, I stay away from the slabs because it's just something that I just didn't grow up with. Not something that it's part of my collecting, passion to slab a book. You know what I mean? I'd rather read the book, open it, hold it. It's like getting a signature as well. Like now getting a signature per se means making money off the signature instead of just getting that signature from your favorite artist, that you're gonna hold on to that. And it's like, back then that's what it was about. You got a signature. It wasn't, you didn't have the mind state of, I could sell this and flip this now, grade it and flip it. Now, back then it was more just, I got a part of this artist now that's gonna live with me. And every once in a while I could pull that book out, look at it, remember that and be like, yo, this is so dope. Like I got Chris Claremont, he with me now. You know what I mean? He's a part of me and part of my collection. But then again, there's people who do the same thing with slabs. So it's not just about slabbing and selling. Some people just like the slabs. And, as Chet, I mean, you could chime in on this and, but that's my opinion on it as far as the slabbing goes. Like, I crack slabs open. I do it with, I usually go a live show. Like I'm actually planning on doing another one of cracking some Spider Spider-Man slabs that I have, you know, and just crack them open and, you know, just getting them out the book. Because to me, it just, I'd rather have them out, to be honest with you. I'd rather have the book out and be able to, you know, read it and hold it in my hand, because it's a memory to me. It brings me back to my childhood of when I had the book in my hand, you know, originally, and then I had to go back and rebuy it again. But I bought it in the slabs, but I want it back in my box. You know, I want to be able to pull it out every once in a while and look at it like I do. You know, but that's just my opinion. You know, that's how I feel about it. You know, how about you,
so
Chet?
let's I was going to say, Chet, what are your thoughts on the general idea of slabs versus raw?
Okay, so I guess in a nutshell, for me, it's I grew up the same way you did. I'm sure I'm a little older than you guys, maybe a lot older than you guys. But
how old are you, Chet?
when I used to buy the books, I would read them.
You made me curious now.
You know, back then, like it's a distant memory, so to speak. But you know, I used to read them all. I read everything I owned. And at one point, I've explained this to Justin. I lost my entire collection at one point, and I've had to rebuild. And when I saw what happened to me the first time when I lost everything, I said, you know what? It wasn't my fault that I lost everything, but well, it was my fault. But the way it was kept from me wasn't my fault. And then I lost them. So I said, I'm going to do something different this time. So I started saying, I'm going to replace everything I lost to the best ability I can. And then I guess I'll get them signed if I can. You know, it took me a while to get into the signing aspect because I collected in the 80s and stuff like that. And then like in, I guess, 93 or 94, I stopped for a good 7 to 10 years. And then I got back in, and then I noticed all these slab books started showing up around me. I'm like, what are these, you know? And I read up about it, and then a friend hit me onto it in terms of grading and so forth. And my first set of books were signed and graded. So I was like, okay, I guess I can live with the fact they're going to be preserved and they're good, you know, real key books or whatever, and I can't touch them again. There's no problem with that. At that point, I still wasn't reading digitally, but the second I got the chance to start reading digitally, I was like, why do I need to, you know, keep reading the book and knowing that I like to get them graded now? I'd like to achieve the highest grade possible. So why do I want to manhandle the book or even just read it, messing up my chances at a better shot at a higher valued investment, so to speak? So, I mean, obviously it's not for everybody. In some cases, it's more costly to own a slabbed book if you don't have it and you want it slabbed, to pay for it that way. You're taking your chances picking out good, very fine near mints and sending them, unless you press them and so forth. You may not achieve a 9.8, but you know what you're getting into for the most part. So I don't have any problem with people reading their books as long as they're maintained correctly. I don't like the fact that I hear, you know, oh, I've read this book 3 or 4 or 5 times because it smells so good. The nostalgia, you know, hits me in the face and stuff like that. Yeah, some people are like that. But, you know, I guess in the long run, you're trying to preserve this book and make it an investment or an inheritance, you know, down the road. So you want to try and keep them as best you can. So that's where I'm all for the slabs. And I've seen your beautiful daughter, and she deserves to have her slabs.
Give her the slab books.
She, trust me, I got her stuff set aside, man. She got her Wonder Woman collection.
It better be slab.
Oh, no, I don't know about that now. I don't know about that.
I love it.
She might want to read them.
I'll tell her I'll buy her a new iPad for her 15th birthday.
Nah, man. She got experience what I experienced. So when you experience, what he experienced. You know?
Understand.
So this is what I find interesting, because you know, obviously I really went out of my way, Chet, to have you on for this particular topic, because I know how strongly you feel in one direction of how you collect, you know, your own. And I know you don't tell people how they should. You know, it's all about how you collect your own, and same Morbius with you and anybody else.
Exactly.
And I was joking with John's Comics with Kids earlier, because he knows the same thing. And obviously, Morbius, you were just on a show, you know, where you're cracking slabs open, and I'm like, oh man, I feel like right now I'm Lex Luthor, and I just took Batman and Superman and just have you guys going at it with how you guys feel, because you're both so opposite on this, which is great. I mean, that's
great.
That's why I wanted. Yeah, that's why I wanted you both.
Entertainment, you know, man.
So, exactly. And I will say I am in the middle when it comes to this topic, between the way both of you stand on things. You know, ultimately, I will buy a slabbed or a raw book, whatever the opportunity is for me. So Morbius, as you said, like there was a book that happened to be slabbed that was just a better deal. It was cheaper, and so you know, you're not gonna not buy it just because it's slabbed. You know, so you, and then of course, you know, you, like you did before, you could always open it up if that, you know, if you wanted to do so. So, you know, it's a lot easier and cheaper to go that direction than it is to get a book slab. So in that sense, it makes sense. You know, but then I also get the other side of it. And as Chet, you're saying, it's like, you know, preserving your books, wanting to keep them where they will last a longer time, as opposed to just keeping them in certain bag and boards. And of course, that also depends on what kind of bags and boards you keep them in, because there are certain bags and boards that are out there that are good enough to preserve, just like government papers and things like that. You know, we talk about Mylar. I know Albert was just mentioning Mylar in the chat before. And another weird thing for me personally, when it comes to, and this is very small, but when it comes to taking photographs of my books to put on like Instagram, I actually prefer it being raw. I actually like, I feel like it's too like clunky and big, the slide. And again, I know it's a small thing to argue or to debate, but it's, to me, like one of the reasons I got into comic books was like the artwork and then taking cool pictures of it in certain angles. But the glare from the slab is like too much.
Kills me, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you know.
I can't figure that glare out, bro. I can't.
I posted Venom 27, first appearance of Codex, and it's a black book.
Yeah.
And I had all sorts of anxiety taking that picture correctly, and I still didn't get it right.
Because I don't like the phone. I don't like the phone angle in it. I don't want the phone like reflection.
Right.
In it, you know?
Yeah, you can. If you put your hands, you can see every last. You can count every digit on your finger and the phone. You know, so it's like
you see your
black covers are hard, especially in something that's made to look like glass.
Right.
You're getting a glare. I know. But I mean, but then again, it brings me back to the bottom line. I mean, I'm not slabbing it for pictures. I'm slabbing it to preserve.
Right, of course, yeah.
I can take a picture of a raw book. I can go on Google and take a picture of that and post it and say, my copy's in a slab. I don't want to blind you people with the bad lighting.
Yeah. Like me personally, like all my books back here, they're all in Mylar. You know, they double back Mylar. So I keep everything as stiff and clean and pristine as possible. And in my post, if you guys notice, I take pictures of the inside of the comic book and the back cover. You know, because I want to give the person the full experience, you know, of the book, not just the cover. I want you to look inside, read it. You know, I make sure that what the pictures I post are coincide with the storyline of the synopsis that I write. So you can kind of like read the synopsis and then go to the panels and it just falls right into play. You're like, oh shit, yeah, I saw that. But guys, just to give you a heads up, when I do post my books, I take my time. I pull them out slowly. I don't open, if you notice, you can't notice it because the way I edit it, but I don't open the pages all the way. I don't open the covers. I don't pull them back. If I can't, I can't. And I just crop the shit out the picture and that's the way it goes. You know, but I do not force, you know what I'm saying? Like the last thing I want to hear is that, you know, y'all know the sound. When you go too far, you hear that kick, 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 kick. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, damn. Like, I don't want to go any further. You know, so trust me, like I'm very about preserving. And that's the key with having a raw collection. It's like, you have to be cautious. You have to be patient. You can't just manhandle your books. You know, you really got to make sure.
I've seen people just buying their books. And when they buy their books, I mean, they're, you know, when you get to a rack, you see a bunch of books, usually you're nice and, you know, gentle about it. These people are like just grabbing it by the opening where the book is and yanking them down. And I'm like,
exactly. And like me, usually I look through the books on the spine. I don't go to the top. I go through the spine and I just grab it two-hand and I look, or I pull it out the stack, put it down, and then go through it if they got variants mixed in. Because some guys, they, you know, depending on the shop, they put the variants behind the books. So then you got to pull out the A cover to go to the B cover. So I just
sounds like
just pull
Midtown Comics.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to just pull the whole stack out, and I just go, you know, book for book, and because I'm thinking about the next guy, you know, who's gonna go pick up the book. Because I'm very big on that, you know, thinking about
some people aren't as conscientious as you when it comes to,
and that shit pisses me off when I go and I see, like, this week I wanted to get that Karma, that new book that came out, you know, that it's about this girl who she died, but then like she's brought back, and you see like the covers are dope covers, like this fuchsia red with her skeleton. You see her inside. And I saw he had one copy left. And I was like, man, I want to get that. But of course, it had dents in it. And I was like, damn, man, like, you know, who the fuck manhandled this book? Like, you know what I mean? They didn't think about the next.
That's what gets me, because I mean, generally it's like you're always gonna outweigh your collection in no matter what case. I don't care who it is. You have more raw books in your collection than you have slab books. And that's
unless
no
you're
mistake
TJ.
or accident. Because
Unless
if we could all have our
Slab
books
Dragon.
slab, every last one of them, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. So in my case, I guess I go for the book slab, the slabbing of the books that are most important. You know, I guess the books with weight and clout behind them, because I have my instances where I have books that I just like the cover, so I get them graded.
Right.
You know, to me, it's more of a work of art more than just than a comic book. So that's how I preserve it. I mean, not everybody feels the same way. I mean, I love your collection. I can see what's on that wall, and you're telling me you open them up and you're careful. I understand that. I just don't want. Like I think I'm clumsy enough not to want to beat you.
Oh yeah, like these books been on my wall for 2.5 years, and I have not touched them. You know, I don't mess with it. It's very rare that I swap a book out. It's very rare. You know, even if I get another Grail in, I just leave it alone and I just put it in the box. I try not to touch these as best as possible. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you know, even though I'm a raw guy, I still want to preserve the book. I'm still thinking about the future. Of course, it's at the long run. It is an investment. You know what I mean? And an equity for your children. Because I'm big on that. You know what I mean? I got 3 kids. You know what I mean? And I just think of their future. You know, so you want to make sure you're leaving them something good. But as far as slabbing my books, nah, I don't want to, because it's just, you know, I don't see the thing about it, because if I want to preserve it, you can go ways about preserving it without having to spend the money on slabbing it. You know,
I have a question for you then. Obviously, you can preserve them by bagging and boarding and all that. Yeah. But I guess you've seen the differences in the pricing.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously, you can buy a raw book a hell of a lot cheaper than you can buy a slab book. So,
correct.
I mean, in some cases, I know you said you don't do a lot of grading. I mean, do you send anything to CGC, or you just buy a CGC slab every here and there?
I've only done it once, and I already cracked that. That was a Spider-Man I did years ago to try it out.
Free my
hell yeah, free my books, man. So,
let my libros go.
And I was like, okay, this is cool. You know, I tried it. I tried it out. But after that, I just bought them slab because of the opportunity. But then I just started cracking them open after a while, you know, because I don't know. It just wasn't like my thing to just have them there. And to me, it's clunky. It's just, you know, it takes up a lot of room. You know, you got nowhere really to put them away. You just, you know, and when you have such a big collection, just like it takes up so much space. Every little space counts. Like every little, you know, guys, every little corner, every little thing counts. So that's another thing as far as if you got the room and the slab them all up and put them all in the place. I've seen guys who have walls full of slabs. That's awesome. You know what I mean? It looks great. Don't get me wrong. It looks amazing, you know? But it's just,
I'm sorry, I'm distracted by that comment.
I'm
a
reader who collects, not a collector who reads. There's a wait, hold on a second. I'm a reader who collects, not a collector who reads. There's a difference. Need to elaborate on that.
So it's like, do you prioritize collecting or do you prioritize reading?
Reading. See, it's a mixture of both. It's a mixture of both, because everything
I agree with what you're saying.
It's a mixture of both, because there are things that you might pick up necessarily just for a cover and you're not going to read the book, you know, but then there are runs that I collect that I read religiously. You know what I mean? That I pick it up because I love reading that book. And I'm going to say that's maybe like 80% of my collection. 85 is just picking up books that I read, that I'm collecting runs. You already know, just we collect certain runs, the same runs. I'm pretty sure we all do, that we love to read, you know, but there are books that come out like certain variants. Obviously, I'm not going to read the fucking variant. I already read the cover, the A cover. So, but the variant looks dope, but I'm going to put that away. Or a book I don't read that's just a dope ass cover. I'm just going to put that, look at it. Oh, that's dope, and put it away. But I think that what I don't like is people who don't read at all and just collect. Now, to me, you're not a collector at all. I don't care what you
exactly.
say.
I agree with you.
I don't care what you call yourself, but you're not a collector. You
No, you're not.
want to be trying to be down and just whatever. But if you're not reading,
people like that are in it literally for just the dollar value, and that's it. And you can't
in it. You have no passion for this. You can't even hold a conversation about a comic book because you don't even care about that. You down for the dollar value of it. So
I know somebody just like you're talking about.
I don't have no respect.
Their main source of information getting is
Wikipedia, some dumb shit, Googling shit. Like that shit is corny.
I mean, really?
You know? That shit
At
is
that point,
corny.
I'm like, don't even talk to me about it because
exactly.
you don't know.
Like, I'll tell you in your
You
face.
have not read it. You don't know.
I'll be like, yo, son, keep it moving. You corny, B. Like, get out my face.
So let me add this. When it comes to just generally speaking, when it comes to if I had a choice between buying a slab book or a raw book, when we start to get into higher numbers, cost wise, price wise, I do get I do find myself getting nervous with buying or purchasing a raw book, even if it's a good deal, even if it's cheap. And one of the biggest reasons for me is because it's very possible that there is some sort of ink or touch-ups that happen to the book that I can't see, that the average person might not recognize, or there's a page missing, which, if I'm buying a big book, if I'm buying a $2,000 book, I'm not going to necessarily count the pages. I don't think I'll flip through that to count the pages, but now I'm taking the chance that if for some reason I decide later I want to ship it to go get it CGC'd and it comes back with a red label or whatever, a purple label, and it says like, hey, this is missing pages, like then I'm going to be pissed off and I'm going to regret the idea that, man, I should have bought it slabbed. That's what I like about the slabs is that the blue label of it is a safer, yes, you have to pay more, but it's like it guarantees you that this is a safe, not damaged book, not missing pages, complete. Purchase. Whereas if you're buying from a stranger, if you're buying from a stranger, who knows? Like you don't know what you're going to get necessarily, and it's going to feel real bad if 10 years later you find out that it's missing something.
My fear is restoration. That's my fear. Restorations are my fear. Like, I don't have my Hulk 181. That's a major book that's missing in my Hulk run. And that book, I said it many a times, when I buy that book, I'm buying the slab. Why? Because I want to guarantee that I'm getting what I'm paying for. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And then I'll crack it open. No, I'm just fucking with y'all. I'm just playing. I won't crack it open.
That is a real question. That is a real question, though. Would you then crack it open? Because it does stand by.
Absolutely not. I would not crack that open because of how much money I put into it and the money value that book is going to gain 50 years from now when I'm pushing up daisies and my son got to pay the mortgage on his house and he can't do it. He got a book right there that I know is going to take care of him. You know what I mean? That he could push, which I won't care because I'm gone. I won't give a fuck. But as far as restoration, raws, checking right here, brother. Right here, UV lighting. This is the best way to catch it. When I picked up, I did take a chance when I got my Iron Man 55. You know what I mean? I'm a big Thanos head too. So I bought that book raw. I bought it raw, and I paid an amazing price for it. So I got nervous about it. But as soon as I got the book, this is the first thing I did with it. I ran through it the same day I opened it, so that if I have to return that shit, I'm doing it right then and then. I'm not stalling, and I ran through the book. I checked it because I would say that book is like an 8.5, right close to a 9. You know what I mean? Being real, how can I say, and not being lenient on the book because I'm not that guy that'll be like, oh yeah, that's a 9.5, and it's clearly like a 6. I'm not that guy. I'll count all the little ticks. I'll look at every little thing, a little bend, corner bend, look inside, the page coloring. I'm very meticulous about it, and I'm not going to lie to myself. You know what I mean? That's another thing a lot of people do. They lie to themselves. So I don't know why. Just be honest, bro. It's like, it's not what it is, and cool. It's not what it is, Not everybody can have it, in that condition. But that's one of the things I did. I did put the UV light to it, and that's what I did to all my books on the wall. Once I had them all up, I just ran through them just to make myself feel better that I have, I don't have no bullshit,
I'll tell you, with the whole grading process, it's taken me time over the years to get the books that I've got signed and graded and all that.
I could imagine, man.
I think in certain cases, I enjoyed just the thrill of getting those books back with a certified grade, knowing I won't have to worry about seeking a copy again or whatever. And, the option of, just not being able to read it again never really bothered me, because with all of today's technology, it makes it that much simpler just to pick up where you left off, even if you were reading the book the night before, you know what I'm saying? So I've always enjoyed the fact that you have a way to preserve it. You have several ways to preserve it, but this is my chosen way of preserving, and knowing the value. I like knowing the value. And I think it makes me feel good knowing exactly what my books are worth in that sense. I mean, I'm not looking to sell based on the fact that, they're all graded and stuff like that. Those are, Justin knows my X-Men books to me are like the bag of IV, and I'm connected for
life. Your babies. Yeah, it's your babies.
It's like I'm never going to pull the plug on that stuff unless I'm close to death or the investment time has come. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the bottom line, because at some point you're going to cash it in or someone's going to inherit it. So knowing the value makes it that much simpler for me, I guess, when it comes to graded books.
Well, two things with me. Yeah. One, I don't sell books. I don't sell none of my comics at all. I don't plan to, never will. Nothing I collect goes out this house. Once it comes in, it stays in. Even those miscellaneous freebies that dudes give you just to get the junk, that goes into the miscellaneous box. Like, I don't get rid of nothing. I'm a hoarder when it comes to that. And two, my thing is that there's times where, not only have I seen it, I've personally seen it with other friends of mine where they'll send the book out, right? For some reason, get it graded, crack it open, not even press it or clean it. Don't do anything. Just take it out exactly the way it was, resend it back and get a different grade. Now, see, that's where I have a problem, that there's not a real official standard. You know what I mean? Because you might get a different grade on the same book without doing anything to it. So to me, how can I hold CGC as the holy grail of grading when they themselves are faulty in their grading? I've seen books 9.8 with a clear color break tick on it, on the spine.
Oh, yeah.
Color break. You see it. My man hit me up not too long ago. He sent out 2 Venoms. One of them had a color rub on the back, and it had minor little ticks on the back of the spine, like minor little baby ticks, like tiny little things. 9.8. And he even said it. He was like, bro, this is like a 9.0, maybe 9.2, but I'll take it and run. You know what I'm saying? So, because he knows.
Don't get me wrong. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm saying we've all lived through, I guess, our share of CGC disaster stories, disaster pieces, I guess.
Right.
I've had friends send books off, perfect condition, after getting them pressed, all that. They're excited about them coming back. And when that book comes back, it looks like an accordion. Okay. But it says 9.8 in the corner, which tells me CGC screwed up and they're trying to make up for it by giving you a grade that now, unfortunately, you have the book. It's wrinkled up and it says 9.8. But if you wanted to sell it, nobody's going to take it from you, because now it's only a 9.8 by that grade and not by the human eye. Right. So CGC is not perfect. And we all know that. I've seen craziness over the years.
Is there a reason why you go to CGC over anything else?
Generally, I guess because that's who I started with. But at the same token, I find them to be a little bit more. We all know they're more reputable because they're more popular. But for the most part, I've had a better experience with them than anything with CBCS. I think I've sent off books to CBCS twice. One time it just took way too long for me to get the books back. It took like 9 months. Another time, I guess they didn't verify a signature, which tells me, they say they're going to verify, but they didn't verify. And I just seem to have a better experience on the grand scale with CGC.
I'm just wondering if because as you both are saying, that there are these flaws in certain companies. And I'm curious if, I know right now CGC is essentially the staple to, most collectors, but there are certainly others who are trying to change that and who are trying to make, take their power away, or, try to support others, maybe potentially up and coming. So I was just wondering if, would you switch if, or does that not necessarily matter if CBCS ends up being the king of Slabs, would you go?
I guess
and
at this
them,
point, there's no need for me to switch.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
so you're not married to CGC necessarily.
I wouldn't switch at this point. So I basically
Are you? I'm
will
sorry.
say I'm engaged.
Would be married.
Are you okay?
Because
I
mean, it makes no sense for me to really switch. I mean, the bulk of my collection that's graded is all CGC anyway. I've got a couple of CBCSers in there that have survived the cut, so to speak. And I've had decent experiences buying CBCSs and converting them into CGCs after getting them signed. I've seen a couple of grade bumps here and there. But I guess this far along into the game, especially as long as I've been using CGC, it wouldn't make any sense for me to try something new. You know what I mean? I guess being set in my way at this point might be the best thing for me.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I also wanted to say here with Bobby here was saying, I prefer them raw, but in today's market, to get your money's worth, I think you have to buy slabbed for ones you're looking to sell. So that's interesting because, like we were saying, it depends on your goal too with this.
Right. Exactly.
You're not wrong to. Right. But and I know Bobby here, if he's looking to buy a book in order to sell it, I know Bobby likes to upgrade. He's trying to upgrade his collection. So I know he's a collector and a reader and he's involved. So it is interesting to just think that is an angle or something to consider at least, when it comes to buying certain books nowadays.
Absolutely.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Being a raw guy, I agree. If you're going to sell a book, might as well get your money's worth, and getting your money's worth is slabbing it nowadays. So to guarantee that you're going to get that money back. So I'm totally up for that. If you're going to sell your book, do it. You know what I mean? For sure. Yep. I'm 100 on that, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I've been doing actually recently. We all know the market's flooded with a whole lot of new books and variants. There's like 1,000 variants per new cover or whatever.
Right.
But what I do is, I'm more invested in the classic books, so to speak, the Bronze Agers and the Silver. I'm sure you guys are as well, for the most part. I know Justin has a lot going on, so he's up on old, new, prehistoric, BC, all that stuff. He's involved in every aspect of the game, and I admire that. I think I may be too old to even try and copy that, but the bottom line is I have been getting a lot of newer books to send off to grade, to possibly sell, or more so with the intention to sell, to put money towards the older books that I like so much more. So I'm not really too keen on most of the new stuff anyway. I stay with the X-Men and anything that surrounds the X universe. I'll stay with the Spideys and, sometimes the Hulks and the new Champion stuff. But it's got to be incrementally. So at that point, I'm just going to say, I'm going to pick the best books out of that. I'm going to get them graded. I'm going to off them, and I'm going to buy something I truly want. So that's the way I've been looking at it as well in terms of grading books.
Right.
Exactly. I'm right with you.
We have a guest here I wanted to bring on real quick.
Yeah.
See if he's set up here. Had to bring my man TJ on because
what's going on here?
I know he feels a certain way. Throwing a curveball here. He was in the chat. He said, "Get me in here." He had some things to say.
You're having this discussion without me.
I know, TJ. You got to be a man to be on here. So, let us know what you think here, TJ.
One, stop touching your comic books, Morbius.
That's not gonna happen.
I actually literally fainted when you said you were cracking your slabs open.
Hell yeah.
I don't. So having your comic books in case, I don't care what company you use unless it's PGX, but having them in case is the best way to preserve your books for resale value, for your inheritors, for insurance, for anything than raw. And you also know what you have. Because if you're the raw, you don't know what you have. You're not going to get top dollar for it.
If you're trying to sell, though, you're saying.
Yeah, if you're trying to sell, right?
So Morbius doesn't sell anything.
But if you're going to leave it to your kids, they don't know what they have unless they're slabbed.
Yeah,
my
but
best
50
friend
years from now, it's not going to matter.
My godchild is going to inherit all my stuff. They don't know what they have. It's on the registry. They don't have to do any legwork. It's all right there and go collect. They have all the passwords. They're set. If you have raw, you can't do any of that.
Yeah, I mean,
but trying to go backtrack and trying to slab all the books I have, I'll go broke. You know, there's no way of now backtracking, you know, so far deep into my collection and then trying to start slabbing to me just doesn't make sense. You know, to me, that's just, I feel that everyone has their own personal preference of how they collect, you know, and one thing we don't want to do is, you know, is we could suggest how somebody should take care of their books, but we shouldn't tell somebody how to do their books. And that's something that's we're very big on, that you know, we all have our ways of collecting.
Oh, I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. I'm saying the better way.
No, that's the best way, right? But the best way, in your opinion, the best way, in my opinion, I don't see it that way. You know, because I don't collect in that way. My mind state doesn't work in that way when I collect.
I'm not talking about you collecting in a certain way. I'm talking about for best resale for your kids when you pass them on. That would be the most bang for your buck.
Right. Well, that's why I said that the major books in my collection, I have them graded, and then the ones that I know that I'm gonna be picking up are gonna be picked up graded. You know, but the majority of my collection is gonna stay raw. And you figure 50 years from now, they're gonna have the value they're gonna have is still gonna be valuable, regardless if they're raw or seed or I mean, obviously, if it's slab is gonna be more. But when you compare it now to the money you're spending on it, to me, it just doesn't make sense to me, you know, in my perspective of how I collect, you know what I mean? Because not everything to me has to be slabbed, you know what I mean? It's just certain books could be slabbed that we know are going to generate a high value, you know, but not everything for me should be slabbed, you know, in my personal opinion, you know, for my personal collection, you know.
That's understandable. I mean, yeah, I get what you're both saying. I agree with, you know, TJ here in terms of the preservation and the value. Obviously, I think in your case, you have what you want graded already, and you're not going to take it any further than that because you don't feel the need to.
Right.
But the fact remains that if you want to get the most bang for your buck, you're going to send those books in to get them graded when it's time for you to either up the value for your children or do whatever it may be that you would like to do with them before your time has come, so to speak.
Right. And that's why I said that the most valuable books in my collection are slabbed, you know, or if I'm going to pick up a very high like that Hope 181, it's got to be slabbed. You know, I'm not going to pick that up raw. You know, that'll be retarded, you know, because I already understand the value behind that book and I want to make sure I'm getting what I'm paying for. You know, I don't want to get something that's restored like we were just talking earlier. You know, but to me personally, it's like imagine me trying to go back now and slab, you know, 9,000 books. Like that's not gonna happen. I can't, you know, there's no way. You know what I'm saying?
You might as well put that amount of money. You might as well put that
exactly. So what I could do though is preserve those books as best as I can with what I could do now, which is like I said, you know, put them in Mylar, double back them. You know, don't manhandle them as much as possible. Like I said, these books have not been touched for 2 years since they got on the wall, you know, and then the books that I post, I'm very, 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 very cautious when I open them. I take my time, you know, I don't open it all the way. I put them back in. So it's, some people just feel very like, oh, like, believe me, I know I have a lot of people always telling me, DMing me, like, yo, you crazy, you know, the way you know, show your books, open them. That's a classic book, should be graded. But like we said, you know, not everyone has that same mind state of resale or seeing a book as a dollar value. Once again, to me, it's more of a memory. To me, it's more of a nostalgic feeling when I have these books. When I look at these books, you know, it brings me back to a certain time. And that's what's more important to me than the value of a dollar. Of course, my children, I'm going to want to leave them, but I want to make sure they're successful on their own, that they don't have to rely on my comic books to do what they need to do, you know? Of course, so they're going to be successful in themselves, that they don't have to rely on that. But as a backup, you know, it's not something that they're going to use to pay their rent every month. You know, no, that's what their job is for, their career is for. This is just that extra bonus that, hey, I need an extra couple grand, you know, to get this house. So let me grab Pops, you know, Slab, Hope 181, and, you know, and let me try to move that. You know, that's the point of it. You know, but let's not get, to me, I can't get consumed in this whole, like, investment money and trying to get the bang for your buck. Yes, I get that, but not for every book. You know what I mean? You got guys out here slabbing.
We definitely agree on that.
They're slabbing.
You can never out-slab your collection. There's no way.
It's impossible.
Also, aren't there certain books that make sense to just not get slabbed? I mean, if there
absolutely,
are not,
I agree with
there's
that.
Just certain key or non-key, like a brand new book right now, you wouldn't necessarily get it slabbed if there's nothing special.
Unless you like the cover that much for yourself, or if the book holds some sort of significance to you.
Right.
I've done that before, and the books are. I mean, I had books that are slabbed that aren't worth diddly squat. But to me, I love the book and it's invaluable.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
I wanted to.
We have people who spend. I'm sorry, Ned.
No, go ahead, more.
No, we were saying about slabbing books that costs more to slab the book than what the book is worth, and I'm seeing that a lot nowadays because there's it's almost like a slabbing pandemic now. It's like a lot of people just want to slab just to slab, just because they see Chet slabbing, they see TJ slabbing. I want to slab too. I want to get my slabs up. And this is whole FOMO thing that goes on as well, that people just feel like, having a slab in my collection means I have a strong collection. Nah, that's not what it's. Then if that's what you collecting for, then that's on you. You know what I mean? I don't collect for that reason. Totally,
I know people who send out books, just like sending out books. Like, I guess when you get on Instagram and the annoying person who goes through their entire camera roll and throws everything on there. I guess with some people, they just get the stack of books that they just bought. No matter what it is, they just send it into CGC. They don't care what the book is. It's just going to CGC. And when they get back, I got 9/8. And you're saying, why get that book? So it turns out to be a waste for them in the most sense,
I wanted to go back to something that you guys were talking about before, and this is before TJ jumped on, but I know TJ also chimed in here on the chat. But you guys were talking about those who are collecting who are not readers, and that that they're essentially not a collector to you, or in your opinion. I wanted to bring some of because I saw David in here, who's a good guy in the community, and he talks about he goes, wait, did you just say that you're not a I
think he meant that in the sense that it's a comic. In the comic sense, you're not a collector if you're just getting the books, not reading, and just hoarding. That I agree with Morbius on that. You're not a collector.
Hell yeah.
You're something other than you're buying it. You're an investor, I guess. Then at that point,
right? Exactly.
Well, that's the only thing that might.
I really disagree with this. I haven't read a comic book in years, and I'm a collector. And I don't buy them because I'm investing or selling. I buy them because they're history, they're preserved, and I love the covers and the art. And just because you don't read the book doesn't mean you're not a collector.
Yeah, I was going to say that you certainly can. People can enjoy the artwork, and that's half of a comic book is just the art. And some people might, as TJ is saying, you buy a book just because they like the artwork, and maybe they are committed. Maybe they're an artist. Maybe they're just an artist themselves.
No, I disagree with that. Because that's the whole point of being of picking up a comic book. When you picked it up as a kid, you picked it up and you read the book. You read the story. You broke down the story. You understood who wrote it by looking in it. You see the artwork. You talk with other people about it. Hey, did you read the storyline? Did you see about this? Or what's continuing next? This is before internet. And before you could read it digitally. You know what I mean? Now I understand when you buy a book, you don't have to necessarily open it to read it. You know what I mean? But if you're picking up books constantly and you're not reading anything, yes, sir. There you go.
I read this once when I was a kid. I don't need to read it again. Be a collector.
That's a different story. We're not talking about something that you've read in the past and you're not reading it now. That makes total sense because there's books that I read as a kid that I picked up that I had lost as a kid, and I picked it up now, and I'm not going to read it because I already read it as a kid. I know what the storyline is. I might open it just to reminisce a little and be like, oh yeah, this is cool. But in the sense, I'm talking about overall, as you picking up books for years constantly, or you just getting into this. Yep, it's more. I think this pertains more to more millennial collectors than per se Generation X or older than that. I'm a generation. I'm 46 years old. I just got a baby face. Like Let's not get it confused here. Like I've been in this game for over 30 plus years collecting my books, and I've read pretty much everything since just the last few years. I don't read every little thing because there's books, like we said, that I pick up just for the cover base value of it. I'm not going to read that book. I just think it's a cool book. But I got title runs that I pick up and I read.
But I'm a millennial.
Books that I'm interested in new titles.
I'm a
that's what I'm saying. No.
Well, let's say
I know that, and that's what makes you different from a lot of other millennials that are like you're into reading, and that's something that to me is amazing, Justin. That's why I give you so much props, because you are so heavy into your books that it impresses me as much as you read.
That's what I was saying. You're on every like spectrum of collecting, and that's, to me, that's impressive, because I mean, I think when I started talking to you more, I started branching out into the independent stuff a little more.
Right.
And I was always Marvel and DC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and with you, it's like such a broad spectrum of every little piece of it. You're like the Salt Bay of comics.
Well, I just want to, I mean, I'm just saying, with what David's saying here, I do feel that we can't necessarily say that somebody is not a collector just because they're not reading the books. I think that this hobby welcomes all types of people. I think what you guys are defining more of what you don't is people who are in it for money only. And that's what I think is, I agree with. If you're just in it for money only, then maybe that's not what I'm in it for. But again, even if you are, though, it is your right to, and you're not wrong to do it. And you are still by definition collecting things. So you would be considered a collector, even if you're brand new, even if you're just getting into this hobby right now, and you're literally buying books for money, to flip, to sell, or to whatever. And you guys know I don't do that, but still, if someone comes in and does that, they are still part of this hobby in a different form.
Justin, to go back to what I said to millennials, so nobody misconstrue what I'm saying. When I said millennial, meaning that you wasn't around in the 80s reading those books that you're picking up now. So me, I read the book in the 80s, so I'm not going to read it now. So if you pick up that book now, and you're not reading it, that's what I'm talking about. If you're picking up books now that came out then, and you're not reading them now, then that's my thing. That's my take on it.
So, that's me. I have books that I've never read that I've picked up that are old. I have one I was just looking at before was the Avengers 12 or whatever that I bought from a friend of mine. It's
Nefaria?
Who is it? No, the one that has the J.K. Rowling letter in the back or whatever it is. Is it Avengers 12? Avengers 13? Something like that. Anyways, either way, what I'm saying is I've never read that. No, but I'm partial. I'm partial to it.
Right, but that's what I'm talking about, the guys who are 100%. Like we were just saying, Chet, 100%. You buying books and you ain't reading none of them. You just picking up, like you said, then maybe you're just an investor. Maybe you you collect books. That's how I see it. You collect books,
But they are.
I kind of feel a lot like Morbius here, because I mean, I feel like what defines us as comic collectors is basically the buying of it, the knowledge of it, and the passion of it. And if there's if you're just buying it because you like a cover, but you're not delving into what you're actually buying, that kind of takes away a little bit of the collector gene, doesn't it?
Well, no, but I'm saying, what if they like it? What if they like it for other reasons? What if they like it for the artwork? What if they like it for the character
won't put them in the same
or the writer?
I want to put
we're defining here, because I think everybody has their reasons for buying. Everybody has their likes and their passions, but on the level of collecting that we're at, where we buy and we actually read, whether it be digitally or mangling your books by hand, we're still getting more out of our collections as collectors. Whereas we're not just buying it, we're not just storing it for some other purpose. We know what we're buying, and we get into it. We know what's in that. We look, the characterization is all in our heads. We've connected that way.
Right.
I want to buy
what that would be
to me.
I
want to buy Black Cat #1, the J. Scott Campbell Noir variant edition. I have no interest in ever reading that story or that series, but that cover deserves a place in the collection. Doesn't make me any less of a collector than someone who does read it.
No, and that's what we said earlier. We said there's books that I bought just based on the cover, but I'm not going to read it because that's not something I'm reading. But if it's a title run or if it's a run that I'm already started, I'm going to keep picking up, keep reading it. You know what I mean? Because I'm just into the story. I'm into the characters, into the artwork of the whoever drew it. That's awesome, great. But I'm it's like I see it as somebody who collects cars, right? You got all these beautiful cars. And then I ask you, like, oh, what kind of engine is that? Oh, I don't know. Oh, so what kind of struts are those? What kind of suspension? And well, I mean, I don't look into it. I don't open the trunk. I don't open the hood. I just, I just got the car. You know what I mean? And you're like, okay, but damn, to me, right there, he'll lose me. You know what I mean? Because then I'm thinking like, damn, where's the passion, bro? Like, why did you really pick this car up? Was it just to say you got the car? You know what I mean? Or was it really because you have a passion for the car? You know what I mean? If you have a passion for the car, you're going to dive into that car. You're going to know every nick and cranny. If you speak to any car collector, true collector, he will break down the stitching on the seat. He will tell you where that dashboard came from. He'll break down the gears inside the car. So that's how I look at it based on comic collecting. So if you got a book and I'm like, hey, what's, I don't know, like who? Oh, so what's the storyline on that book? But it's worth, $5,000.
I agree.
Like, man, you lost me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done.
This is the only valuable in my collection because it's the first appearance of Star Fox. So, Star Fox is the most important person in the Marvel universe. So,
right, in your opinion, TJ, and we all have our opinions, and that's why we.
That's a beautiful
today and every Tuesday. It is. Yep. And TJ, I wish I could show you. Mine is right there on the wall, in a raw. It's like right on the wall. But it's in a 4mm Mylar with double backing, and it's been there for 2 years without being touched.
At least you use Mylar. Yes.
Say again?
At least you use Mylar. That's important. Now,
very important. You know what I mean? And
I
one thing also,
a public service announcement for anyone who displays their comic books on the wall. You better be using the LED light, and there better be no sunlight coming in that room.
Right. That's what I was going to tell you. I actually have UV blockers on the window that's right here. I have double layer UV blocking on this window here, and I got LED lights. So perfect. That's what I have right up here. That's why it's really
if you have a regular light bulbs or fluorescent, this is bad as the sun.
You're done. If you notice too, I got Transformers. These are all my original Transformers. Now these turn yellow. All the white on the Transformers turn yellow. And this is very, very, very dear to my heart is my Transformer collection, because this is where I started when I was a kid before comic books. I started collecting my Transformers that I got like throughout my birthdays and stuff like that. So my Jetfire that's completely white is still white. All the white is white. And that's very important to me. And that has to do, once again, to be knowledgeable and understanding on how you collect and protecting your collection, depending on how you display it and how you how you collect, basically. So once again, everybody has their way of collecting. We already established that. We got 4 people here that all 4 of us collect in different ways. We have 4 people from different age ranges, but we all have the same passion of collecting. You know what I mean? We all have the same desire why we collecting, and we all maybe have different desires why we collect. But at the end of the day, it is our collection. And we're not here to point fingers. We're here to just hear someone else out that might, because if you say something that I'm going to totally agree with it, if you're right, and I'm going to say, yo, you know what? I'm going to take that advice, because someone told me UV lighting, someone told me LED lights, someone told me use Mylar double back. These are not things that I just came out of my own ass, that I'm just some genius and was like, hey, this is what I'm going to do now. It's like, nah, it was over years of just talking to other fellow collectors, and they're like, hey, if you're going to do this, make sure you do this. If you're going to do this, make sure you do that. So this is why this discussion is very important for those even in the chat who are not up to speed, on how to, preserve their collection or take care of their collection. This is one of the reasons why we wanted to talk on this topic, because it goes back to preserving your collection. And I feel that's very important, but we all have our own ways of doing it. And as long as I feel that you're going about it in a way where it's about, making sure you're preserving the books and you're doing it for the right reason. It's not just some quick, buck scheme, we touched on flippers already. So it's just that's why, I feel very passionate about, keeping my books, raw like this, because that's just my view on it and my standpoint, but I definitely respect all you guys' point of view. Don't take the passion the wrong way. You know what I mean? But
see, I just saw a comment that's literally head on with what we're talking about. I said you don't need to read to be a collector. I'm not saying you're not a collector just because you don't read. You're just not a collector in the sense of collecting the way Morbius and myself make collector, and right. Justin as well. We like to know what's going on that we're spending our money on.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I think I was just leaning towards the idea of like that we can't necessarily like claim at somebody that they are not something because in their own mind, in their opinion, they are collecting.
Exactly.
They are a collector. So we are not.
I'll definitely take that back and say, you know what? You are a collector. You just a different type of collector when it comes to comic books.
That's right.
You're different.
Yeah, you're on a different tier in terms of your collecting.
Yeah, I think that was more of the more of the point that I was.
That's a better way of wording it without insulting and making anyone feel bad.
Totally, because that's just right. And and I mean everybody here in the chat, some great people, and
we don't want to insult nobody. None take it the wrong way. It's just that we're very passionate about our collection and how we collect. So it just translated the wrong way by saying you're not a collector. We just meant as far as we are, we're just
from
a different collector type of collector.
How you label it,
or from how we collect. We're more the reader type. We like to read our books and really dive into them, and some don't. And that's, like I said, I got books I don't read. I just like the artwork. I don't read everything I get, but I read the majority of what I get because that's just the way I collect. So nothing wrong with that, guys.
We're hitting the 8:30 mark here. We're a few minutes over right now, but this has been a great conversation. I apologize for the people in the chat. I was not able to get to everybody. We had some really great comments. I tried to highlight a bunch as I went through. Definitely if you guys get a chance, go back
so much for coming
and
on,
read
man.
some. Yeah, TJ, man, thanks for jumping on. I know
I appreciate you so much.
For sure.
TJ, the input was fun.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
It's solid. Added to the conversation, added to what we needed to hear,
Yep. Chet, also, man, thanks for being on with us as well.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
This is certainly something we'll have to revisit at some point.
Yeah, we need a part two.
There are definitely other angles at this.
And we bring it back TJ. We're bringing back
and for sure. And like I said, there was just a lot of great comments. I might try to go through this later on just to read some because I do think some people made some really great points in here, and I don't want them to go unnoticed. So take some time and read some of these comments, guys. Because and anybody watching this replay, feel free to leave a comment under the actual video itself because we would love to still keep the conversation going. Respectfully, of course, and just hear what everybody has to say. So
let's keep it positive, guys.
But again, just want to thank everybody. We'll wrap this up now. Make sure you're following more Chet. I put your stuff in the description below. TJ, I'll throw your Instagram in the description below as well after the video uploads itself. Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for jumping in, and I hope you guys all had a good time with this talk.
Absolutely, man. That was definitely fun.
So, all right, cool, guys. We're going to wrap this up then. Everybody, make sure you hit that thumbs up on the way out. And we appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, 7:30 every time.